Luxembourg. It's one of the leading financial centers in Europe. But it's more than just finance. Luxembourg is an exciting and vibrant country with innovative technologies and an entrepreneurial spirit that shapes the world around us. Steel manufacturing is at the foundation of Luxembourg's prosperity. To this day, Luxembourg is building city skylines. It's home to a unique mill that can forge giant steel beams of such quality, the kind used in the new One World Trade Center in New York. The advanced architectural glass used in the construction of the Burj Khalifa Tower in Dubai, the world's tallest building, was made in Luxembourg. Components made in Luxembourg for the car industry, airbag sensors and safety belts, help save lives around the world every single day. And hazmat suits, protecting healthcare workers fighting the deadly Ebola virus outbreak, are also designed and produced here in Luxembourg. As well as traditional manufacturing, Luxembourg is home to one of the most modern data center parks in the world. The ultra-low latency hub is ideally placed to serve Europe's huge consumer markets. And the world's largest private satellite operator, SES, bringing television to hundreds of millions of homes around the world, is based in Luxembourg. It allows content providers to reach 99% of the world's population, and Radio Television Luxembourg had a formative influence on generations of listeners in Western and Eastern Europe, like the Rolling Stones guitarist Keith Richards, who, as he writes in his autobiography, was listening to Radio Luxembourg on his small transistor radio when he heard Elvis Presley's Heartbreak Hotel for the first time. He says he woke up the next day a different guy. The rest is history. Speaking of history, there's a good chance Luxembourg has played a small role in writing it. 12 billion balls are manufactured in Luxembourg every year, representing 45% of global production. As you can see, there's a little piece of Luxembourg everywhere, from city skylines to cars, even in space. But don't forget, Luxembourg is also one of the leading financial centers in Europe.
Brunei is a country with a small, wealthy economy that is a mixture of foreign and domestic entrepreneurship, government regulation and welfare measures, and village tradition. It is almost totally supported by exports of crude oil and natural gas, with revenues from the petroleum sector accounting for over half of GDP. Per capita GDP is high, and substantial income from overseas investments supplements income from domestic production. The government provides for all medical services and subsidizes food and housing. The government has shown progress in its basic policy of diversifying the economy away from oil and gas. Brunei's leaders are concerned that steadily increased integration in the world economy will undermine internal social cohesion, although it has taken steps to become a more prominent player by serving as chairman for the 2000 APEC Forum. Growth in 1999 was estimated at 2.5% due to higher oil prices in the second half. Brunei is the third largest oil producer in Southeast Asia, averaging about 180,000 barrels per day. It also is the fourth largest producer of liquefied natural gas in the world. Macroeconomic trend. This is a chart of trend of gross domestic product of Brunei Darussalam at market prices estimated by the International Monetary Fund, with figures in millions of Bruneian dollars. For purchasing power parity comparisons, the US dollar is exchanged at 1.52 Bruneian dollars only. Mean wages were $25.38 per man-hour in 2009. The government regulates the immigration of foreign labor out of concern it might disrupt Brunei's society. Work permits for foreigners are issued only for short periods and must be continually renewed. Despite these restrictions, foreigners make up a significant portion of the workforce. The government reported a total workforce of 122,800 in 1999, with an unemployment rate of 5.5%. Oil and natural gas account for almost all exports. Since only a few products other than petroleum are produced locally, a wide variety of items must be imported. Brunei statistics show Singapore as the largest point of origin of imports, accounting for 25% in 1997. However, this figure includes some transshipments, since most of Brunei's imports transit Singapore. Japan and Malaysia were the second largest suppliers. As in many other countries, Japanese products dominate local markets for motor vehicles, construction equipment, electronic goods, and household appliances. The United States was the third largest supplier of imports to Brunei in 1998.
A recent UN report revealed that a large portion of North Korea's overall income is brought in through outsourced slave labor. Primarily focused in China and Russia, tens of thousands of North Koreans are forced to work as much as 20 hours a day, while up to $2.3 billion a year in wages are collected by their government. But slavery isn't the only criminal activity from which North Korea sees profit. So we wanted to know, how exactly does North Korea make money? Well, North Korea's economy has always seen abysmal growth. According to UN statistics, both North and South Korea started out with a similar GDP in 1970, around $300 per capita. By 2013, South Korea's GDP had grown by nearly 9,000%. Meanwhile, North Korea's GDP only doubled over those 4 decades. But most financial figures surrounding their economy are unknown, as North Korea has one of the most closed economic systems in the world. This is the result of a cultural philosophy known as juche, or self-reliance. The enclosed system is one of the ways that North Korea is able to farm out its citizens in what is effectively slavery. While some workers do see payment from their government, it is in the form of nearly worthless local currency, the won, at a massively inflated exchange rate. In North Korea's black markets, a single US dollar can buy more than 8,000 won, while the government offers an exchange of just 105 won. But besides collecting for slave labor, North Korea also trades in other internationally prohibited activities. One North Korean defector reported that the country has allocated major agricultural zones for growing opium. They have also become well known for producing mass quantities of methamphetamines, the majority of which go to China. A 2008 congressional report found that the increasing drug trade over North Korean borders was strongly linked to government sources. However, later congressional reports disputed this link, pointing to private North Korean drug traffickers as the source instead. North Korea is also a hotbed of counterfeiting. The U.S. has accused their government of producing at least $45 million in very high-quality $100 bills, which are known as supernotes. This counterfeiting operation is thought to net up to $25 million a year in profit. But perhaps the biggest benefactor of North Korea's economy is actually China. While North Korea has almost no money, they have considerable natural resources. North Korea imported nearly twice as much as they exported with China. But this trade imbalance is actually beneficial to China because it comes with mining contracts for North Korean coal and zinc. China is also one of the only countries to support North Korea with food, weapons, and energy in the face of international sanctions. North Korea's dishonest economic dealings may explain how they've avoided collapse while sanctioned around the world. As long as they continue an alliance with China and Russia to keep their limited trade afloat, North Korea will keep exporting drugs, counterfeit bills, and slave labor.
New Zealand is on the edge of the Pacific Ocean and is also known as Aotearoa, the land of the long white cloud. The country is a similar size to Japan or the United Kingdom, but with only a fraction of the population. So it's not surprising that people think of New Zealand as Lord of the Rings country, full of open spaces, lush farmland, forests, and spectacular mountains, lakes, and beaches. The country is politically and economically stable, with a democratically elected government that contributes to schools, universities, and hospitals. New Zealanders are well educated, healthy, and have a good standard of living. Immigration has increased significantly in recent years, with people all over the world attracted by the benefits and opportunities New Zealand presents. As a trading nation, New Zealand's economy operates on free market principles. The government's export-led growth initiatives strongly target Asia, which aligns perfectly with ANZ's strategy. Known for its clean green environment, New Zealand's economy was historically driven by agriculture products, including dairy, wool and meat, along with kiwi fruit, honey and logging. Today, tourism, film production, education, healthcare, food and beverage, winemaking, logistics, technology and a number of other sectors also generate significant earnings. New Zealand has large trading partners around the world, with a majority of them in the Asia-Pacific region. New Zealand's culture of innovation, collaboration and adaptability provides a secure and stable investment environment. Kiwis are well known for their can-do attitude. They work well with international companies and are efficient within New Zealand as well. Low levels of bureaucracy mean a New Zealand company can be set up online within an hour. A significant number of New Zealand businesses are privately owned. Their ability to anticipate and respond quickly to change in business and the environment strengthens the country's competitiveness and positive reputation in the global market. For example, Kiwi businesses are working together to export high-quality products like red meat, dairy, wine, organic food supplements and technology that automates manual processes. ANZ has been helping New Zealanders get ahead ever since we opened for business in 1840. We were New Zealand's first bank, and today we have the largest network of full-service branches and ATMs, and around 8,000 talented people right around the country. Our market-leading products support our relationship teams who have a banking relationship with 1 in 2 New Zealanders. This includes over 40% of medium to large businesses in the commercial and agri sectors and 84% of the institutional market. At ANZ, we're proud to be the most international of the Australian banks and the most Australasian of the international banks. We're here to help you.
With a record production and higher productivity, Brazil is one of the top leaders in the soybean production and exportation. Rafael, could you tell us a little more about the current status of Brazil in the world soybean market?
Hello, Lucila. Certainly. Brazil has produced 81.2 million tons in the last harvest, and there are estimates that the next one will reach 85 million tons. Brazil's soy exports reached an amount of $26 billion in 2012, an increase of more than 8%, when compared to previous years, of course. China is responsible for the import of almost half of the Brazilian soy export share, followed by Netherlands and Spain.
What can you tell us about Brazilian's soybean local market?
Brazil is self-sufficient in soybean production, supplying the domestic market and sending the surplus to foreign markets. Domestic consumption rose 15.4% last year, and the forecast is that 45% of the increase in production will be destined to the domestic market in 2019. The production grew 22.4% last year, and the predicted annual growth rate of the soybean production is 2.43 by 2019, close to the global rate estimated at 2.5% for the next 10 years, reaching an estimated production of 81 million tons.
And how is the participation of the Arab countries in this market?
The Arab countries, when considered as one, are the 7th main destination for Brazilian soy exporters, with an imported amount of $385 million in 2012, presenting a decrease of 36% over 2011. Algeria, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, the main destinations for Brazilian soy exports, accounting together for almost 85% of the share of the overall export to the Arab countries. However, the good news is that the increase in imports coming from Tunisia and the UAE, which increased their respective imports in 93% and 70%. These are two emerging markets for Brazilian soybean exporters that must be focused in the following years.
Thank you very much.
I thank you.